Brandon Bailey, and welcome to the Appalachian Entertainment School of Music. This is a guide to help you if you're interested in learning how to play music. All kinds of different instruments. We're going to learn piano, we're going to learn drums, we're going to learn keyboards, we're going to learn guitar, bass, maybe even some vocal stuff. At some point in time, we'd like to learn how to do some recording and some other things that are associated with that too. So I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. If you guys have any comments, be sure to leave them on the YouTube site, and look forward to telling you more. Thanks. This is the bass drum. This is the low frequency of a drum set. It has little feet on it here that keep it from moving, and we'll set these feet together. For those of you who are wondering, I had to take a quick pause to go grab a hat because my hair gets in the way. It gets really annoying. So I like my long hair, but it sure gets in the way sometimes. So don't hesitate to wear a hat. Hats are cool, man. So especially when you're working. Anyway, so this is a kick drum pedal. You'll notice that there's two pedals on it. This is called a double bass pedal. Okay, this double bass pedal allows you to use 2 feet, basically to make 2 different rhythms with each foot. So you can have a doubled sound. Basically, you can do twice as much with your kick drum with this pedal. Some really good drummers have 2 bass drums. Most people just have double pedals nowadays. Now this pedal has a little mount that allows you to clamp it onto the bass drums itself. So basically you have to loosen this up, slide the bass drum into it, make sure that it's lined up properly and where you want the beater to hit. Check it, don't hesitate to check it. Now once you get it into place, there's a little screw down here that you twist to tighten it down. This is so that it doesn't shift as you play it. So now, and you see that the second pedal also works. Second foot. But typically the next piece of equipment that I usually set up is the snare drum. Okay, here we have a pile of drum stuff. Okay, these are our stands, or what is more often than not called hardware. Basically, the cymbal would sit on top of this, the legs fold out. So we're going to take the hardware in there piece by piece. First thing we're going to do is grab the snare stand, because that's the first thing that we want to set up. This is the snare stand. It's kind of a little Star Trek looking clampy thing here. The feet open up. Just basically loosen this up. It out, tighten it back down. This piece here doesn't have to tighten down, although some drummers that get kind of erratic will tighten the snare into the clamp here. It doesn't have to. Okay, now the next thing I normally do is set up the throne, which is the seat that the drummer sets on. I'll move these stands out of the way and set this monitor back up here for the drummer. This actually, while I'm at it, is the tom mount. This sits inside here. Some drums are mounted on the bass drum. Some drums are not mounted. You'll see some drum sets that have like a big rack that has everything on it. But this particular setup of drums has a mount for the toms. All right, this is the drum throne. All right, basically the same kind of concept here. It's got a cascading arm here. Open it up, extend it, tighten it down. Certainly you want to be sure your drum stools, you want to be sure everything's tightened down, but probably more importantly the drum thrones. You don't want to fall down while you're playing. Unless of course that's part of the show. Typically I kind of like to set, when I set the drum set up, just get an idea, make sure it's in the right spot in the room, that you got plenty of movement here. So this feels pretty good. Next thing I'm going to put up is the snare drum. Now you notice the bottom of the snare drum has these things here. These are actually called the snares. And they're the things that actually give the snare drum its buzzing sound whenever you hit it. If you turn these off, the drum sounds more like a tom-tom. So the snares. And tuning a snare drum is a real art. We'll do a lesson on tuning sometime in the future. We're not going to do it today. But at any rate, these are snares, and this is a snare drum. When you place the snare drum, occasionally you do want to turn the snares off for effect. Also, they can be ringing and annoying during slow songs or whatever. You want to put it so that this little switch is somewhere close to you when you're setting up the drum set. These are the toms that we were talking about before. These are called mounted toms. We have three of them basically. This is called a mounted tom because it actually sets on the mounted drum here. Move the snare out of the way to get to it. And basically, this slides right onto these poles. And these poles can be adjusted however is comfortable for the drummer. If you're smart, you don't change things too much. You try to be consistent. It's important that you're consistent. So now this is also a mounted tom. You see this one's slightly bigger. Typically you go from small to large, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. This is a right-handed set. A right-handed set has the hi-hat on the left side, snare drum, and typically you play the kick drum with your right foot if you're right-handed. So now just the opposite for left-handed. You have everything kind of backwards. Now this slides in and mounts. Now this floor tom here basically just sets up on its legs to the side. And you'll see it, since it's been set up before, it already has its proper lean, and it kind of indicates where it's supposed to go. Put the snare back. Now what we're going to do is we're not going to be concerned with exact placement right yet. We'll do that once we get everything in place. This is the hi-hat stand. You notice that it has a pedal of its own, different than all the other stands. Pretty much all of the other stands have their own just mounts at the top, but this one has a pedal. I'll show you in a minute why that is. Same kind of deal here. We've got legs that open up, loosen them up, spread the legs, close it up. This one, the pedal, has a little feet in here, or little mounts that allow it to stay locked in. Notice this isn't quite exactly square. That's the reason it's turned, is so that it fits better with the kick drum pedal, so that the two of them kind of go together. Now you notice that this one, whenever you push the foot, it makes this bar go up and down. That's because there will be a cymbal mounted to this bar that allows you to make sounds with it and change tones up. Alright, we're just going to open up these few stands that are here. We've got 3 stands left. Same type deal. Open, spread the legs, lock it down. Now you notice that all 3 of these stands are the same, except this one's got a mount on it. This has got a drum mount for another small tom that is part of the drum set. And this is also a snare drum, and it's also more often than not used as a tom, but it's switched around whichever way is necessary for the particular song. It's got a different tone than the other snare drum. So, all right, now the next thing we do is grab all of the cymbals. All right, there are basically 3 or 4 different types of drum cymbals here. This one's called a hi-hat cymbal. You can tell it right now because it's got this mount on it. But you'll find that the hi-hat cymbals are a little bit thicker and a little bit more solid than most other cymbals. Now they go on the hi-hat stand. And then this one with the clamp mount on it goes on the top. And it clamps down so that it can be moved with the foot pedal down. This is the smallest of the cymbals. We don't have a splash cymbal with this. A splash cymbal is usually even smaller than this, probably about half this size. But it's the closest thing to a splash, and we kind of call it a splash. Now this is a crash cymbal, but it's also a ride cymbal. All right, this is a crash cymbal. This is probably the cymbal you hit the most next to the hi-hat. All right, this very last cymbal is called a ride cymbal. Okay. So now this is the basic configuration of the drum set.